is Emma.
My name is Savannah.
Hi, I'm Ellie.
My name is Hannah.
My name is Jada.
What happened to you?
When I was 14 and a freshman in high school, I went through an 8-month-long sexually and physically abusive relationship.
When I was 8 years old, I was raped and molested by my karate teacher.
When I was in elementary school, I had a friend who used me to experiment her sexual desires and needs.
I was in an abusive relationship when I was 16, and I didn't get the chance to realize that until I had turned 17.
I was sexually abused by my boyfriend when I was 14 years old.
What does PTSD look like for you?
PTSD to me feels like being in the eye of the storm and just watching the world spiral around you and not being able to have any control over it. Just waiting for everything to hit, and it feels like drowning.
For me, PTSD is a lingering thought in the back of my head that never really goes away.
For me, it comes back in feelings rather than anything visual, I guess, for me. But I'll feel the physicals of it all, and I'll also feel the emotional aspects from whenever it happened or what happened.
PTSD to me looks like when you're very quiet and very anxious, not able to communicate a lot. For example, if someone, this is something that happened to me personally, if someone like grabbed my wrist really hard, something that I would start freaking out about, but I'd keep very much to myself, like I wouldn't tell anyone at all about it.
PTSD for me looks like my body repulsing something that my brain is not. And I also experience a lot of dissociative episodes due to my PTSD.
What triggers your PTSD?
My PTSD could be triggered by sounds, scents, dates, the sight of my own blood, the taste of some foods, smell of some laundry detergents. It's unexpected what's going to trigger it. It just happens.
My main triggers are the Robertson Community Center and anything that has to do with karate.
Usually, when people touch me in the ways that they did or talk about me in certain ways, which lead me to making me feel certain ways, which bring it back very harshly.
Either when people yell at me or when they try to like grab me in a very aggressive way.
Things that trigger my PTSD are any forms of physical touch, Red Dodges, the band The Smiths, and the clothing brand Ben Davis.
How does PTSD affect you?
PTSD sent me down a spiral for years of my life. I struggled with severe depression and anxiety. I couldn't go to school, couldn't work. I was so stressed I lost the ability to even walk. I've battled with addiction for the past 4 years, and it's still something I'm trying to shake. It's affected my life in every way that I could imagine, in any way that you could imagine.
I've worked through most of my stuff, but my biggest issues still are people coming and like grabbing my shoulders.
It makes opening up with my current partner really hard sometimes and can lead to like weird panic attacks when things happen between us that aren't necessarily like my partner's fault, but it just makes it really hard to be in a relationship and be vulnerable in a current relationship.
PTSD has affected me in a lot of ways, especially through anxiety. It's definitely heightened the way that I am around people. Like my anxiety around people is very hard to control, so I start to get very quiet. It's also affected me like outside of just social life and in school as well. It's hard to focus on my schoolwork as well and just family stuff, all of that stuff.
PTSD for me makes it impossible to truly get close to people.
How does PTSD impact your relationships?
I feel like I can't trust anybody. I can't trust what they say, what they do. It's made me feel completely unlovable. And sometimes I just get so angry and so overwhelmed, I lash out on other people and I have no control over it. And I hurt people. And I feel hurt by them for not understanding.
Having to open up about it for the first time is really scary, but after that first wave of emotion passes, everything is perfect.
It can make it hard for me personally in a relationship because it will make me feel bad that I can't explore new things with people, or like with my current partner, it's hard to explore new things that I know they want to, and I feel really bad about it when I know I shouldn't, but it's hard to also communicate that with them, which leads to repressed feelings and more difficulties with like kind of being around each other in intimate settings.
It's definitely affected the relationship I'm in now because, and it's something I've learned over time, you can't apply your past, your PTSD, you can't apply it onto your partner because you know that that's something that they wouldn't do, or it's something that they're not capable of, and it's just that you're putting your trauma onto them, making them seem like the bad person.
PTSD made me believe that I was asexual because after I was sexually assaulted, I was completely and totally terrified of men, and I was terrified of getting close to them, so it made me fear getting into any relationships, and that's why I've not been in one since then, even though this happened over 4 years ago now.
Has PTSD impacted your relationship with yourself?
My PTSD made me lose complete sense of my own femininity. It made me hate the color pink, hate dresses, hate curling my hair, hate makeup. I used to shower and scrub my skin so hard I would be red from head to toe. I wanted to be anything but in my own body.
For about 3 years, I just felt so dirty and like I was gross for what happened to me.
It's been really hard, like, on myself physically, I guess, because it's hard to view myself physically. Like, it's really hard to look at myself in the mirror and see something that I like, I guess. And like, when you view yourself like that, it really takes a toll on you mentally, and it's not great.
Dealing with PTSD myself has definitely made me feel more self-aware about everything.
After I was sexually assaulted, I became very angry with myself for allowing something like that to happen to me. I completely lost myself. I really didn't like who I was or what I looked like, and I attempted to make myself as undesirable as possible so that nothing like that would ever happen to me again.
Describe a PTSD flashback.
When I have a flashback, it's like I'm frozen. I can't move. I can barely breathe. I am visually hallucinating. I get auditorial hallucinations. I am back in that moment, but I could be standing in front of you with a smile on my face, acting like I'm fine. Sometimes they get so intense I have no control, and I can't stop crying or shaking or sweating. They're invisible to most people, but they're everything to me.
For me, a PTSD flashback feels like hitting your head while you're wearing a helmet and your head just ricochets back into the helmet.
For me, whenever my partner touches me in a way that I will like my assaulter did, I'll feel my assaulter's hands on me, which then leads me to a kind of panic state, and I will be in a weird kind of zoned out, kind of like panicking, not being able to breathe very easily state. It's weird. I don't know if I want to call it a panic attack, but it can last between like 10 to 30 minutes, maybe longer.
So this was not too long ago. It was when I first started to my now current boyfriend. We were just like play fighting and stuff. He had accidentally grabbed my wrist really hard, and so that had like triggered something. This has happened a few times before, not with the same person, but like just with family in general and yelling. He had accidentally grabbed my wrist, and I had all of a sudden gone very quiet. He noticed something was wrong, so we ended up talking about it, and that's when I actually told him about everything that had happened in the past, which honestly, it helped me feel a lot better about it, not to feel so guilty about it, which you shouldn't feel guilty about it at all. Like, it's something that's never ever your fault. If that happens to you, it's never ever your fault.
Typically, flashbacks for me occur while I'm at my job. I work with children, and they can accidentally be pretty touchy-feely sometimes. And when I get triggered by that, I typically disassociate. And sometimes those disassociative episodes can last up anywhere from minutes to multiple hours, where I'm in a complete daze and I'm just not myself at all.
does PTSD impact your daily life?
Ever since I've dealt with trauma, I've been in physical pain every single day for the past 6 years. Sometimes it gets so bad where I can't even sleep. Other days, it's just a pain in my back or in my legs reminding me of what happened to me. I can't focus. I'm always tired. It physically affects me every single day.
I've worked really hard to overcome a lot of my issues in my own battles, but one of the big things that I still carry with me is guilt. And one of those main guilt feelings is, why do I have the same diagnosis as someone who fought for their lives and fought for America in like Vietnam or any war?
I think I've gotten to a point where it doesn't affect my daily life anymore.
Doesn't impact my daily life. It's more just relationships with family and just relationships with my friends and stuff.
PTSD on the daily for me makes me much more of an anxious person, and I notice that I get overstimulated much more than I used to.
How do you cope with your PTSD?
I don't believe that there is such thing as coping with PTSD. I think it's something that always lingers, and some days it's stronger than others. There's no cure to PTSD, there's only treatment, and the idea of coping makes it go away, but it doesn't.
When I first got diagnosed with PTSD, I went to therapy and I did a lot of hard work, but as time has gone on, what helps me the most is surrounding myself with my amazing support system full of people who love me.
I would say that I didn't really cope. If anything, I just pushed it down because I didn't think it was okay to talk about it or talk about it with myself, so I didn't really get to cope with it. I think as of recently, the most thing I've done is talk with my current partner about it, and that helps, but I didn't think that I was allowed to talk about it. It didn't feel right, so I think there are definitely suppressed feelings in there, but I think I'm on a better path to that now.
Usually to cope with my PTSD, I like to journal and write everything down. If it's like I'm currently like having an anxiety attack because of that and I'm thinking like about the past and how it happened, usually I'll listen to music or I'll try and find something to distract myself, like either play games or work on something separate, maybe even like drawing squigglies in my notebook.
I remind myself that I am in control. I like to squeeze my arms, and that just makes me more grounded.
What do you wish more people knew about PTSD?
I wish that people knew that PTSD is an invisible disability, and that it impacts people in ways that they could never imagine unless they had it too. I wish people understood that PTSD wasn't just something that our war heroes have. So many people around you most likely have some version of it, and it's a battle for them every single day.
I wish people knew that PTSD was a spectrum and that it's not the same for any single person.
When someone gets sexually assaulted, it really does affect someone longer than people think. Actions do have consequences.
I wish people knew how hard it was to like actually deal with it, because I know a lot of kids or like newer adults our age don't really know how that feels unless they've actually been through something where they've had PTSD. Even when people explain, like people from the army who have PTSD, it's the same thing. Like you understand what they're going through once you've had the same sort of kind of experience, except theirs is, it's similar but different. Theirs is more war related than ours is relationship, all of that other stuff.
I wish others knew that when people are going through PTSD, they're not over-exaggerating, they're not being dramatic. PTSD can be all-consuming. And what could have been 15 minutes of fun for him is a lifetime of pain for me.